everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. I'm so excited to be here in 2024, which is this going to be the year of disclosure? So we have a couple of things going on right now. We have this aliens in Miami thing, which we're going to get into. We have this huge news of the Jeffrey Epstein client list getting revealed. Although it's more of a travel log, and once again, just like all of these other disclosures, very disappointing. So some people are asking, is this the truth being unveiled in 2024, or is this a major distraction? So one thing I want to start off right in the first couple seconds of getting into this video is, most likely it's a distraction, right? Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with my friend, Jessica Reed Krause. She goes by House and Habit. She's an independent journalist. She actually posted something. She's covering the Epstein case really closely. And she actually posted, wow, so we have aliens, the Epstein files, all of this stuff. We're like, what is really going on today? And for the last 2 days of this information going on, Dr. Fauci has been testifying in front of a private subcommittee within Congress. He's being questioned about the COVID pandemic and some of the methods that were used during that method. So I think it's pretty interesting if we're talking about, oh, what is this distracting us from? People are saying that the aliens are to distract us from the client list. No, the whole thing is probably to distract us from something far more crazy and nefarious, right? So another thing that has come up recently, there's just been a lot of weird news, weird alien news, right? Don't we feel like it's kind of like trolling a little bit? Dahlia is asking, have I seen Elizabeth April's post? Okay, so let's talk about the aliens in Miami. So also a bunch of people say they like the way that I say Miami, like I'm trying to say it like I'm from there. Look, half of my family speaks Spanish as a first language. You guys are just lucky I don't say aluminium, okay? So Miami had, as I'm sure by now, Bayside Marketplace. It was a mall down in the downtown area. A commotion broke out. Over 100 police cars showed up to the scene. Allegedly, Black Hawk, Black Ops helicopters were circling. Allegedly, the electricity was put out in the area. Now, I actually have not heard that part confirmed. I've talked to a lot of people who live in the area. I talked to a lot of people who are related to cops, and were actually talked to people who were there on the scene. I'm telling you guys, you aren't going to like, if you haven't already seen my video on it on Instagram and TikTok, you're probably not going to like my take on this. This is a major distraction and bullshit. Like, it just really is ridiculous. So I did get to see some interactions between some people and some police officers, which obviously I can't share, the actual screenshots or anything like that. But the cops, basically, like the way that they were kind of answering the questions to their loved ones about it is basically like, dude, I wish there was aliens. Like, a lot of the cops, the things that I had seen, the cops were like, I wish it was aliens. I love aliens more than anybody. I wish it was. These kind of reports of cops taking people's phones, that never happened. No one actually has confirmed that. I did see some messages and stuff from cops saying that that was ridiculous. Like, people were flooding out. Nobody was getting anything taken. They were just trying to get the situation under control. So what I was told from my different sources, and this is just not one person, this was multiple people who had family members that were part of Miami PD who were there for the event. All of them said the same information, that there was, like we heard, there was teenagers there. They were shooting off fireworks inside. They were bum rushing the kiosks. They were looting stuff. You saw the video. There was 15 of them jumping one driver. The kids were just out of control. And also, you guys know that there was this like news article a couple of days before that where a bunch of teenagers bum rushed a mall and looted the whole place, and they couldn't stop it. So that happened. I forget where that happened a couple days before, but that's probably where they got the idea from, right? It's like, oh, they can't take us all down. Anyway, what was what I saw in some of these messages was that one of the fireworks that had gotten shot off inside let out, obviously, what sounded really loud and crazy. People thought it was a gunshot. It's not crazy to be in a mall and assume that something like that could have been happening. So that's why they reacted that way. That is my belief of the situation. I do think that this is, just regular discernment. Some people are mad that I'm not like saying that I believe in it. Just because I believe in aliens doesn't mean that I need to believe in every single bullshit story about aliens that is put out there, right? So someone asked about the Elizabeth April video. I love Elizabeth April. I'm a big fan of her work. As you guys know, I actually did do an interview with her. I have it on my Instagram and my TikTok. It's a short form video, also about Project Bluebeam. I really liked her take on Project Bluebeam in the past. As far as this one, I don't think everybody is right 100% of the time. I'm not saying that, she's lying or anything, and I don't say she's having any nefarious things. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. When I heard the explanation, it didn't resonate. Now, there is interdimensional stuff that happens. I just don't believe that like a whole group of people were at the frequency, which is what she claimed, that all these people were at the frequency to be able to see an interdimensional being. She says it's coming from the solar flashes, are hitting the planet, frequencies are raising. And because frequencies are raising, people are seeing interdimensional beings more. For anyone who didn't see her video about the Miami incident, I'm not buying it. Now, I will say, someone close to me was in a very similar situation, not in Miami. This happened in another state where there was the situation ended up being a little bit blown out of proportion in the same way. Not an alien situation in the mall. It was someone who had a weapon and had been shooting. And, the person told me something very interesting. So that is the one thing that I could see kind of being supernatural here, but I don't think that this could ever be validated in any type of thing. And I don't think that most people would have seen it. But someone did tell me that one time right in the middle of like a very like similar chaos event with a lot of panic and a lot of, thank you for the gifts over here on TikTok, guys. So with that, someone has said this, and I also saw this in the books, several books. It's in Bringers of the Dawn. It's in the Transylvanian Sunrise, where sometimes when people will like experience stuff from the past, like say, for example, I know this is getting crazy. This video got really off the rails here, but say, for example, the crucifixion in the past. This was like a public sacrifice, right? Horrible, crazy event that happened. And some people have said that sometimes beings will pop into that event. So sometimes someone might have like a remote viewing of Christ being crucified or something like that, right? I don't know. I'm just telling you some stuff that I've read. I'm not saying that I actually know that this is true or anything like that. People have said that beings will come and like interdimensional beings will drop into these areas of extreme emotion and panic and stuff like that. I've heard some people say that about stuff like that. I also have heard someone from a personal account of a similar situation in a mall told me that right before it happened, they saw a person like become possessed. Not the person who was committing the acts, just a random person who was watching it go down. So I don't know. There is always room for supernatural stuff in the world. However, I just don't think that any of these accounts are true. And I don't really buy that all of those people, everyone's like, well, if it was just kids, then why isn't there videos of kids doing all this stuff? There probably will be. We're not going to have the identity of minors. That is thankfully the law to protect them. Of course, yeah, these kids did stupid stuff, but they're only 15 years old, They don't need their whole name spread all around. So I do think it is good that we do protect minors. So we're not going to know these people's names. And probably they already have lawyers. So we're probably not going to see these teenagers coming forward because most likely if you have already been arrested, you already have a lawyer and your lawyer has already advised you not to say anything to the public or to the internet, right? Okay, so let's talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. Like we said, this Epstein files, every time the Epstein stuff comes up, the alien stuff pops up. So that's always interesting because they know it stirs up the same crowd. You know, the same type of people who are interested in these Epstein files are the same type of people who are interested in the alien stuff. And that's why they like to stir all this up at the same time. Let's talk about the Tucker Carlson stuff, right? Because I'm probably going to do a TikTok video after this, but I actually have some other stuff that I wanted to add to that. So that's why I haven't posted it yet. Tucker Carlson, about a month ago, in an interview said that through his insider information to government contacts, that allegedly he has come across information in the UFO community from alleged government officials that he claims in this interview is so scary and so terrifying that he can't even share the information with his wife. Okay. Then the guy that's interviewing him is like, oh, same thing. Terrifying, horrible, scariest thing ever on earth. And then they both kind of have like a little like connection about like, oh, you are scared of it too. You do know what I'm talking about. Then Carlson talks about how this is a spiritual thing, that this alien thing is not what people believe, that it's a spiritual thing. And then this sparked a lot of controversy on the internet. And I've been meaning to, for the last month, address this Tucker Carlson thing, but I've been in a very hermit stage and I feel like I'm now emerging. And I still do want to do a separate video, a kind of 6-month update from the ayahuasca, because I do feel like that's a big part of the reason why I've been so hermited. You know, just all of these changes, and the integration comes in a lot of levels. You know, my initial integration of coming out with ayahuasca right after doing it is different than at each month. That information and that stuff kind of resonates on a deeper level to your body, and all the healing that happened in my body is also playing a part in this too, because now, you know, so that's why I just needed, you know, my little cozy time, but I am back and I am ready to start talking about the important issues. Like, what does Tucker Carlson think is happening with aliens? So, what is so scary that he can't tell his wife? That concerns me, because I'm like, look, I know I'm desensitized in the alien situation. So abductions are not that scary to me. But to a regular person, abductions are very scary, right? So he might just be talking about abductions. Now, there was a lot of speculation about Tucker Carlson was implying the Eisenhower Treaty. And you guys know I've done videos on the Eisenhower Treaty before. Basically, what they say is that when Eisenhower was president, he basically was pressured to make a deal with aliens. If you guys watch my AD Alien series, someone said, where's this Tucker interview? It's everywhere. I'm going to do a video on it later. It was, I think the guy's name that was interviewing him was Clayton Morris. I'm not really sure who the guy was. That was my first time seeing him. But when I'm going to do a video about it later today on, after this on TikTok, and I'll include the clips of exactly what Tucker Carlson said too. I can't include them on YouTube because of all the copyright stuff. So what is so scary? Is it the abductions? Is it the Eisenhower Treaty? Because allegedly Eisenhower made a deal between the US government and aliens. Some people believe it's Greys. Some people believe it's reptilians. Obviously, there is no 100% confirmation. There is a letter in Behold a Pale Horse of some of the people who were there for this treaty, and they called them in that letter Etherians. Okay, Etherians. They don't call them physical alien. They call them etheric beings. So that's interesting. Also, I'm like, okay, so this could be what Tucker Carlson has been talking about. Now, Lauren Eisenhower is Dwight Eisenhower's great granddaughter, I believe, and she's in this UFO circuit. I got to meet her in Vegas at Disclosure Fest. I'm not super familiar with her work, but I am going to include a little bit of something when I do cover this Tucker Carlson stuff, because she is a big believer that kind of her grandfather was manipulated and pushed into making this decision. And it wasn't really a decision that he wanted to make, which is also believable. You know, I feel, of course, that's happening in politics all the time. People are pressured to make decisions that maybe they don't even know the right answer to. Who knows the right answer to that, right? So I do believe that that's a possibility, that Eisenhower himself was pressured into doing this. And I do think that is very scary enough for Tucker Carlson to not tell his wife. I don't know. Seems like it might be something scarier than that. So that comes back to where he says this is a spiritual thing. And then I saw another interview where Tucker Carlson was further asked about this alien thing. And he says, actually, you guys already know how I feel. I feel that these are spiritual beings. I feel like they've always been here and that there's more going on to this situation. And the reason that the disclosure is happening this way is because people cannot handle what the truth of this situation actually is. That reminds me once again of the Area 51 caller. So you guys are probably, I also did a video on this too in my Alien AD series. So if you don't know of these things, then go over and watch the Alien AD series that I did, because they also talk about this treaty with the Area 51 caller. So if you guys don't remember, it was like 1996 or whatever like that. Coast to Coast AM, Art Bell hosting the #1 paranormal show ever to be on the radio. Hello. And some guy calls in who apparently is on leave from Area 51. He had been working at Area 51. He's now says they're about, and the guy in this recording sounds so scared. And someone said, when does the treaty end? I don't know if it ever does. That's a good question. Yep, Jimmy Carter reported a UFO before he was president. I believe that too. So basically, this Area 51 caller says, and he's very scared. He's like, they're going to triangulate my position. I need to tell you this right now. A earlier section of the government made a deal with aliens. They're not what we think. And like his voice, when his voice starts cracking, you guys gotta, if you haven't heard it already, you have to watch it. It's really like, it sounds very real. The guy is so scared. And he's like, he says like, what you think are extraterrestrials are extra dimensional beings. They're not what we think they are. And that this treaty that we signed is not what we thought it was. Basically that we were tricked into this treaty and now something bad is going to happen and that the government knows it. This happened in like, actually, I think this might've been like 1998 that the Area 51 caller happened. And he says that something bad is happening and that the government can help people and prevent the things that they know are coming, but they're refusing to help people. Then the line cuts out. The whole radio station gets kicked off the air, guys. The whole entire radio station gets kicked off the air. Like, this is crazy. So this is something that's really iconic. This is another thing, but this is what's reminding me. He's talking about the treaty. He's talking about how these beings are not extraterrestrials, that they're interdimensional, that they're not who they say they are, that this is not what we think it is, and that he's terrified. He's fucking horrified about this. So this is kind of what I'm thinking is more so what Tucker Carlson could be potentially talking about. And then that also leads to the interdimensional thing, which leads us to, you know, the whole concept of fourth dimensional lizards feeding on us, right? So those of you who don't know, the Gateway Experience, which was the CIA working with the Monroe Institute, they worked with Robert Monroe to explore remote viewing and paramilitary techniques. And basically what they discovered, and there is a declassified CIA document that says this. So when I put the video together after this, I'll put the document in it too. Let me write it down. Reptilian document, CIA. Okay, that's not going to be weird if anyone finds that note. So Robert Monroe claims that when he would travel outside of the body, he could see in the fourth dimension, and that there was these intelligent reptilian beings that were actually harvesting human energy and that actually were feeding on us. And he called it Loosh. Okay. Loosh is like negative. So we live in the physical. So our food is physical. So us being physical beings, it can be difficult to understand that there's a possibility that non-physical beings would have non-physical food. So what we use food for energy. However, the other energies that swirl around, we are able to generate energy. we're angry, we emanate anger. We're happy, we emanate happiness. We are like generators of energy, generators of emotions, and movers and transmuters and shifters of energy. So allegedly, according to Robert Monroe, in some of his studies, this is food for fourth dimensional beings, and that these beings basically are all around us. They're all here, and they're always feeding, and that they've been manipulating humanity to keep their food flowing. Now, I know that sounds really crazy and evil and demented, and it is, but is it very different than what we do with cows, right? I mean, that's the sad reality of the situation. The factory farming, the horrible, disgusting stuff that happens there, the way that they are kept purposely in these conditions, you know, everything is for profit, everything is for benefit, everything is for that. So we can look at these beings like they're so evil, but would we be willing to call ourselves evil for what we do to cows? Because we believe that cows are a lower life form. I don't eat them. No judgment to anybody that does. It's a part of life. It is a part of like this cosmic food chain that we could be potentially a part of. But just saying, being able to, you know, when you point one finger, you know what they say, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. So before everybody gets, is this a real live or a pre-record? Oh, it's real, Anne. Oh, this is the real deal. So, okay. One of the other crazy news things that came up. Oh, wait, before I move on. Speaking of Loosh and reptilians and the gateway experience came up so far this year, just in the last, you know, this is just, it happened actually at the end of December. The news kind of fizzled up recently, which was Joe Biden was on Air Force One, flying into LAX, and some people saw some professional plane watchers that have a YouTube channel. I did a video on my Instagram and TikTok on it, where these metallic spheres are flying past these fighter jets and these things, and then Air Force One. So basically, remember in all of these congressional hearings that we've heard last year in 2023, that all of them are talking about the number one thing that is still unidentified with these objects is the metallic orbs, the metallic spheres. So it was really interesting to see multiple times, 3 times, this metallic sphere looking like it's going to hit Air Force One. So what is going on? Okay, we've already had a lot of weird things. We also have that like Julia Roberts movie that everybody's talking about, which they say is like, you know, Leave the World Behind, all of this stuff. There's a lot of weird speculation and craziness and things coming to the surface right now. So, what do I think is coming in 2024 for the alien narrative? Now, I do think that we are going to have a lot of alien news. I think they are going to pull the alien news every chance they get. Every time, especially this is an election year, so there's going to be a lot of things that they're going to be wanting to sweep under the carpet, especially about Joe Biden, right? Because we already know if they're talking about RFK or Trump or any of the other people, they want all that dirt to come to the surface. The Joe Biden dirt is going to be pushed under the rug. So if anything happens connected to him, they're going to stir up the alien thing. They're going to stir up all of this stuff. So I think that aliens are going to be a huge distractor, disruptor, turbulence, like all of that. I think that they're going to be using the aliens as yet another pawn, as yet another card to pull in the Illuminati card game, you know? As far as real disclosure, now, I don't believe that we are going to get a real disclosure event, like something like, oh my God, aliens in a mall. I don't believe in a lot of these instances because it would be too chaotic. Okay, yeah, so someone's saying Project Bluebeam agenda stuff. Well, that's the funny thing, because I posted about the Miami aliens. The video did really well. It got like over 130,000 views on Instagram, which I never really do that type of numbers on Instagram. Those are like my TikTok numbers. And then I got fact checked, and now the video is blurred out and you have to click would I like to proceed. But what's crazy is in the video, I'm saying that the aliens in Miami is bullshit. And then they put a fact check saying that that's false. So what? The aliens were real? Or the fact checkers don't like when I fact check? Because speaking of Project Bluebeam, if this is Project Bluebeam, all this budget on Project Bluebeam, I was the target audience that was supposed to fall for that bullshit. So maybe that's why they blocked the video and put censorship on it. I'm like, how funny is that? We got people saying they psychically viewed it, remote viewed it, that making fake stories about being there, fake portal stories, all of that. None of that's fact checked. Me saying that there was probably not aliens there and that the cops were just reacting to what they thought was a shooter. I'm the one that's fact checked. Okay, don't fact check the fact checkers. So that's what I think is going to be happening a lot with this alien stuff over the next year. Obviously, we're going to have everybody trying to bank in on this stuff. So this is part of the reason why the sensationalism is out of control with this Miami situation, because it's a trending hot topic. That's why I didn't even want to cover it to begin with. It's just that my phone was blowing up so hard for the whole week that I was like, I need to make a video about this Miami situation, or I can't possibly answer everybody about this, you know? But it's sensationalism, and that's why it gets stirred up. And we're in a situation right now where it's not just the establishment mainstream media that is stirring up sensationalism. One of the things with social media on the good side is that it spreads out information. It spreads out the media to now we have a lot of different people we can get information from. On the same coin, but the opposite side, now the same way that the media sensationalizes things for views and for money, individuals can sensationalize things for views and money. So this is going to be a big part of the alien stuff. So even if it's not the mainstream media that is running with these stories, there's a lot of people on X that, and I guess I just heard recently that X started paying people for when their tweets go viral. So yeah, what do you call it if it's X now? It's still a tweet, right? So when their tweet goes viral, if they're verified, they actually can make money from it. So now there is also an incentive to lie and say that you were at this Bayside marketplace and saw aliens, right? Because now if you're going to be able to make money off of a post like that, this is the same reason why the media is talking about Trump every damn day, right? Even though he hasn't been president for almost 4 years now, a lot of people are not watching the news unless they're talking about him. So the media just continues to do it because that's how they have to make money. That's how they have to get their views. You know, they have to sensationalize things. So now this is getting spread out everywhere and everybody can start to sensationalize things. So I think that this is going to be something that's going to be playing a part in the coming year with alien disclosure. Now, some of the other things around alien disclosure. Tucker Carlson is really pushing this forward that these are not extraterrestrial beings, that they are something, he's calling it spiritual. Interdimensional is probably, I think, more so what he means by spiritual is that it's interdimensional, that it's not beings from another physical place, that it's beings that are here, that actually live here full time. It's just they're outside of our visible spectrum of light. So we can't see them, but they are here and they've always been here. And I think that that is going, because we also saw David Grush talking about similar things, right? David Grush, as we know, is the whistleblower that came forward last year in June. And Grush let us know that there was some type of biological bodies that were retrieved that he heard of. but at the same time that this situation is interdimensional. And he did make it known that this is a dimensional issue. And this is why it's really important right now, guys, to have discernment, because this is going to break our brains. This is going to break our reality. And this is why there's not going to be, in my opinion, a invasion event, a sighting that is just them walking around in Vegas or them walking around in the mall or these things, because it would cause such a destructive ripple to humanity, because it's not often that our reality breaks. Now, people in our community of aliens, consciousness, conspiracies, spirituality, the fringe topics of the world, we have had our reality broken, right? If you're into conspiracies, you've probably had your reality broken. If you're into spirituality, you've probably had your reality broken to what you believe it is. However, the average person having their reality broken, not voluntarily, because that's the thing too, when you're deep diving, going down the rabbit hole with conspiracies, or you're deep diving down the rabbit hole with spirituality or meditation techniques or psychedelics or any of these things, these are things that you're signing up for. Yes. Someone said the veil being lifted. Exactly. A lot of times when the veil is lifted for us, we are walking that path. We're signing up for that experience. We're pulling that experience towards us. We're consenting to it. Now, when it comes to an alien event, not everybody is consenting to that, first and foremost. Second of all, to have your reality broken like that, and you're not someone who was seeking that and was on the path of self-discovery for that, that could like literally rock your entire world, reality, cause chaos. Like, so it's a very complicated thing, because this is also one of the things that Tucker Carlson keeps saying when he brings up this topic, is that people cannot handle this truth. This is too messed up. I can't even tell my wife this. My wife can't even handle this, you know? So these are some of the interesting things of what I think he's talking about. Is I really think he's talking about the interdimensionality of it all, because these are the little things that are starting to chip away. You're in the middle of a rabbit hole and your brain's a mess. So some advice though, if you are going down a rabbit hole and you really are feeling overwhelmed, that there's too much and you're uncertain and you're not sure what to believe anymore, and you're not sure if like this is true. Now you just found out something else that contradicts what you have been believing, and then you contradict it again, and now you're confused. That's normal for when you're on a self-discovery, spiritual conspiracy, whatever the heck you want to call it, alien journey. It's okay. That's going to happen to all of us, happen to the best of us. However, if you find yourself ever in that situation, instead of going deeper, thinking you're going to figure out the truth from a state of uncertainty, my suggestion is actually take a breath and come back, pull out of it a little bit, and from there, I suggest doing a deep dive rabbit hole into self-help and personal development. So you guys know I'm a big fan of Marissa Peer. I'm a fan of Lisa Nichols, Vishen Lakhiani, Jim Quick, Reagan Hillier. These are some like different personal development speakers that do different types of meditations, different techniques. You could do some different somatic exercises. There's a lot of people who cover this type of work, who cover the more vanilla type of rabbit holes, you know, and that's what I really highly suggest. If you start to feel uncertain of like, gosh, I don't know what to believe anymore, that's okay. Don't worry. You don't always need to know all the answers. What you can do is pull back, focus on inner child work, focus on inner teenager work, focus on loving yourself, focus on breaking limiting beliefs around money, beliefs around, especially around money, because that gets very intertwined with this, not just because physical finances, but also because a lot of these conspiracies involve the elite, the wealthy, the unattainable wealth. And what happens is sometimes we can get this thing of like, everybody that has money is bad. Everybody that's rich is evil. All of these people do this to kids or that to this or this to that and drinking blood, this and that. You know, these stories get so convoluted. And what happens is it does start to, when you have these money wounds and stuff inside of you, it's going to develop it even higher to the point that now you're going to be broke for the rest of your life because you feel if you ever make money, you got to eat a baby or something, right? So this is why personal development is so important, because when you're starting to heal those aspects of yourself, you come back to these conspiracy topics and come back to these situations with better discernment, with an open mind, with a better sense of self, with a better idea of what's important to you, what matters, and then you can proceed. You know, I'm very grounded for someone that's into all of this information, but that's because I didn't think I was a teacher when I was in the middle of my insanity 10 years ago. You know, there's a lot of people who instantly think that they should start teaching this stuff, but they haven't even gone insane yet. So, you know, you need your little insanity moment before you're ready. Because if not, then you got to have your insanity moment in front of people. And that's dangerous because you're not in a place to be giving legit information. Okay. You are insane. Okay. Good for you, man. Hope that works out. Okay. So, thank you. Thank you guys. Okay. So some for the super chat. He said, so invested, but I'm terrified at the same time with the alien thing and all this. There's nothing to be afraid of, because at the end of the day, it's all part of consciousness. It's all part of the greater plan. It's all part of what's meant to be for the expansion of humanity. So sometimes they say, like, instead of saying you're scared, say you're excited, because they feel the same. Let's see. Am I a clinical psychologist? No, I'm not. I was trained in QHHT hypnosis, and I also did train in Marissa Peer's RTT hypnosis therapy. And I actually did take a lot of I did take hypnosis classes when I was much younger too. I even had a book about self-hypnosis when I was a kid. I used to practice self-hypnosis at night sometimes if I couldn't fall asleep. Okay, let's see. I got here late. Don't know if you already talked about this, but did I talk about the Miami Mall? Yes, I did, Emma. You should go back and watch the beginning. I did talk about it. I did talk about, you know, what I thought about some of the other takes on it. And I think that there's a lot more coming. I feel... You said if you ask for protection, you will be supported. And I believe that too. So if you're feeling scared or concerned about any of these topics with the aliens or any of this stuff happening, just know that you can always surround yourself in white light and always be protected. If you're someone that resonates with Jesus and God and Christianity, call in that. If you're someone who doesn't, then call in white light, call in healing protective energy. There's something for everybody to be protected by. You can always call on what resonates with you for protection. All right. So I believe that is all that I have to say about the aliens for now, which is I do think this will be a big year for alien news. I feel like a lot of the news is going to seem a little bit troll-like. It almost feels like they're trolling us with this Miami aliens thing, right? I think what's eventually going to happen is when the real disclosure happens, that happens on a personal level. It's individuals one by one that start to believe in aliens. And each person has their own journey where they will eventually come to terms with that truth. And that's what true disclosure is. Disclosure doesn't come from the government. Disclosure comes from yourself. It comes from within. And we're waiting for government disclosure, but government disclosure has already dropped the ball. They already messed up, and they're trying to gain the narrative with giving us a little bone here and there. But we're already beyond that. We're already like, these are freaking interdimensional beings. We're already beyond what they've lost control of the narrative. They've lost control of the story. And now what's happening is individual. We have people having experiences and sightings. So it's not going to be this crazy thing with cop cars and people running around and different reports and chaos. No, it happens individual. That person is just there, and then they see a UFO and they're like, oh my God, I didn't believe in this stuff until that one night that I saw that thing. And that's how each individual person is going to have the experience on their own. Also, the reason why this is happening, and if you guys haven't watched my Sarah Breskman Cosme hypnosis, where I was put under hypnosis in the same exact way that I put under other people under hypnosis, we said in that interview, like, why is the government finally doing this? Why is the government releasing this information now? One, to control the narrative and to gain some power back. But also, this is the free will of humanity. Humanity's free will is bringing about disclosure. We want this truth. We want this information.